as much as 97 to 100 degrees. So that 100-degree mark, I don't think can be avoided for some areas. That's still going to happen. If you really look at the next 5 days, that's pretty much where we're going to be feeling over the next 5 days and beyond. It's actually pretty typical for the duration of summer, talking about the end of June through July and August, to be right around 90 to 92 with a real feel of about 98. So we're pretty much on brand for where we should be. For your evening out forecast, it's better. You have a chance for an isolated storm. Shouldn't impact you too much. Those, of course, that do get the small kernel of a storm could have a quick downpour for 45 minutes to an hour. And temperatures back to about 78 degrees. Still muggy at this point. As that temperature gets a little bit cooler, it gets close to the dew point. So it does raise that relative humidity and makes it feel a little bit more uncomfortable. The best chances for rain today right here up in the mountains. If you are doing anything in Avery, Watauga, Ashe County, right here above 3,000 feet, that's your best chance for storms in general. I think it starts as early as 11 to about 2 o'clock is where we see most of this activity. Then it's just isolated pop-up storms. Here's 3 o'clock. We're seeing an isolated storm or two. Once you get to 5, same thing goes, a couple of pop-up kernels, and then a few of those storms further off towards the north. So yes, we have the energy here, but it's going to be far less than what we've seen. But you can expect this each and every summer, that some of us are dry all day long, but then those who have a quick storm have a quick downpour. This is what we do pretty much each and every day, and that's the way you get used to for at least a 20% chance for rain each and every summer day. Overnight tonight, we're usually around 70 degrees. We're falling down into the lower 70s. Still a little bit of a heat index where 73 feels like 75 as the sun's rising up. I am seeing a more humid day on Saturday and Sunday compared to what we have today. That is going to up our storm potential for your Saturday. Still a chance for a strong thunderstorm is possible each and every summer day. But one day that really stands out from all the rest, Tuesday, rain's becoming a lot more likely as a cold front is going to push into the area. So I'll have more on that and also some of your weekend rain chances coming up. But first, let's get to the main event, your 7-day forecast, and we'll show you that here shortly because we're going to do traffic.
All right, sounds good. Here we go. Friday morning, if you're waking up, heading out the door, boy, it is a beautiful start to our weekend, isn't it? Lots of sunshine out there, nice and warm. You can see I-85 at Sugar Creek. Maybe you are heading off to work or running some errands or just taking the kids to summer camp today. It's going to be a great Friday. You can see some of our live cameras here. I-77, York County. I've been watching you all morning long because you've had some problems. Here's another live look, a better perspective, a little bit bigger. This is I-77. Southbound at Sutton Road. You have had very slow moving traffic on those southbound lanes because of construction that is just taken forever to clear up. Now I want to zoom it on into my traffic map to show you all of this red. This is actually extending 6.5 miles. That's how long this backup is right here on I-77 southbound. It's between Forest Lake and Fort Mill. So if your morning commute typically takes you this way and you don't even want to deal with any traffic, but your best alternate route is going to be take I-77 south, get off on exit 90, that's Carowinds Boulevard, and then hit Highway 21. That'll take you right around the worst of it. Meanwhile, across the North Carolina, good morning to everyone. I'm not seeing anything too concerning out there. Mainly green, nothing too out of the ordinary. We do have one minor accident that is currently ongoing here. It's at Hoover Street and Robertson Avenue. Otherwise, mainly green out there. Yes, we do have our typical slow and go conditions, though, for those trouble spots. 20 minutes if you're coming in from Matthews and about 30 if you're coming in from Gastonia. Lisa.
Majestic things approaching 7:05 now. Triple-digit heat pushed the power grid to the limit this week. Duke Energy says customers help prevent outages by cutting back during peak hours.
The company just set a new summer usage record, and it's a sign of what's to come as temperatures stay high. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live with a look at the record-breaking demand and what it means for all of our power bills.
Yeah, it means good things, Ben. Good things? Could it? Yes. Good morning to you. Good, happy Friday morning, folks. Basically, Duke is thanking customers for helping to conserve their energy because in the long run, that saves them money and it helps Duke better manage its power grid, and that keeps the electricity on and flowing well for everyone. Now, we did have those triple-digit temperatures that scorched the Carolinas this week, and Duke Energy thanks customers for stepping up to help conserve power during that sweltering heat. Duke says customer cooperation played a major role in helping manage the electric grid as energy demand surged to record levels. On Tuesday, Duke set a new summertime usage record with more than 35,000 megawatt hours. That surpassed the previous high that was set just last year. Now, Duke Energy credits this achievement to the support of customers who reduced their electricity use during peak afternoon hours, as well as to their crews and operators who worked hard to keep the grid running smoothly. More than 521,000 customers across the Carolinas participated in Duke's demand response programs that helped ease the strain during the hottest parts of the day. As summer continues, I should say, Duke is reminding all of its customers that small energy-saving actions like raising a thermostat, using appliances in the morning, and closing blinds can help reduce bills and avoid those high demand periods.
In North Carolina, those rebates or those incentives actually have increased as of the beginning of the year. So even more bang for your buck there. And so the incentives really are for, if you need a new HVAC or if you want to upgrade your insulation in your home, really help make your home more energy efficient. We have rebates that can really help significantly, on your wallet when it's time to make those upgrades to your home.
Yeah, and Duke says we have programs like that. They have programs like that. I don't own Duke, I don't work for Duke, but they have programs like that all the time. And they say you go onto their app, you can get much more information about them. We're right here in Charlotte. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
And Richard, you mentioned customers help reduce demand, although as we revealed an hour ago on WCNC, I did not do a good enough job when I looked at my usage this week. Is Duke offering any sort of incentive for folks who do take part and do their responsible thing of lowering their energy uses?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they have a number of programs, and we have those listed on our website that can help you not only lower your energy, which helps you give a lower bill, also it can help you upgrades like things for HVACs or just upgrading appliances and things like that. All of that is in that app that you've been looking at and seeing how much you have not conserved so far. But you look at this, you can find out some ways where you can not only cut your energy usage down, save on bills, and upgrade your home. And then for everyone else out there, they'll be able to take advantage of it.
Hey, cut me some slack. Our AC hasn't been working properly. Less judgment next time, Richard Devane. We're trying over here.
Time to get it upgraded, time to get it fixed, time to get the rebate program going. That's what you need to do. We'll keep on it, ladies and gentlemen, and we will find out. We'll ask the tough questions and make sure Ben follows what he's supposed to do. We'll get back to you and tell you when he does.
I'm loving this.
When you know better, you do better.
Reporting at his finest right here.
I will try to do better next week. All right, Richard Devane.
There you go.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. 7:09 right now on WCNC Plus. A major vote from North Carolina's education leaders after a recent data breach put pressure on state's contract with PowerSchool. It's a portal teachers, students, and parents use. State officials just approved a 6-month extension for 2 key tools used in it to hire, evaluate, and train teachers, but with strict conditions. No payments are going to be made until PowerSchool submits a full security review, including a forensic audit and what they call penetration test. And for the first time, North Carolina National Guard is going to actually help oversee a vendor's cybersecurity practices. Happening today in Washington, House members expected to learn more about the recent U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. But as NBC's Alice Barr explains, some still are skeptical of the mission and its outcome.
Pretty close to it, but we have the hottest country in the world.
President Trump fiercely defending the effectiveness of the U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites.
They hit the target, and the target has now been proven to be obliterated.
After the Defense Department revealed new details about the secretive mission, praising the B-2 bomber crews who dropped 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs.
The weapons all guided to their intended targets. The pilots stated, quote, "This was the brightest explosion that I've ever seen."
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff showing test video from the 15 years of work that led to the strikes.
Obliterating, destroying Iran's nuclear capabilities.
It all follows that leaked preliminary assessment by the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency suggesting Iran's nuclear program was set back by just months, though the agency said it had low confidence in those initial findings. The CIA director says credible intelligence indicates the program would take years to rebuild. And now the head of the United Nations nuclear watchdog pointing to enormous damage, saying centrifuges at the critical Fordo site are no longer operational. Senators hearing more in classified briefings with the House up today.
Nobody is going to work in these 3 sites anytime soon.
One leading Democrat pointing to past intelligence from before the briefings about what may remain.
Some of the enriched uranium was never going to be taken out by a bunker buster bomb.
Urging diplomacy to prevent a future Iranian nuclear threat. President Trump said the U.S. would meet with Iran next week, but the White House says no meeting has been set. The White House reasserted it had been closely watching the targeted sites and did not believe Iran moved any uranium before the strikes, while a senior White House official tells NBC News the administration now plans to limit intelligence sharing with lawmakers after that initial damage assessment leaked. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
We are getting new video this morning from the Kings Mountain ice raid. The agency recorded this video saying it detained at least 30 people while serving a search warrant at the Buckeye Fire Equipment Company. The Carolina Migrant Network says it is outraged by the raids, saying they not only spread fear and break families apart, but also impact everyday life.
Ecosystems, right, that lived in this community that are expecting workers to pay for gas, buy food, pay into whatever system are now going to be harmed because of this type of operations.
The Carolina Migrant Network is also encouraging people to speak to an attorney and to know their rights. This, by the way, is an ongoing investigation and more people could be taken into custody.
Trending this morning, fashion icon Anna Wintour is stepping down from her role at Vogue. After nearly 40 years, she's moving away from her day-to-day role as editor-in-chief. She's had it there for years. And you know what? Even if you don't know who this lady is, you probably recognize her trademark hair, sunglasses she often wears. She's going to remain in high-level roles there at Condé Nast, which is the publisher. The move raising big questions this morning about the future of the magazine as a whole and the industry that she really, honestly, single-handedly sort of defined. Supposedly, she was the inspiration for Meryl Streep's character in Devil Wears Prada.
Devil Wears Prada. And
Yeah.
she is a fashion icon.
Yep.
Like, she sets the tone,
Totally.
everything.
Yep. Also trending this morning, folks all across the Southeast, including right here in the Carolinas, talking about this. Maybe you saw it. Fireball streaking across the sky yesterday. This video captured near Anderson, South Carolina. Experts calling it something called a bolide, which is basically just a really bright meteor. NBC's Jesse Kirsch has the story.
Out of nowhere, South Carolina's sunny blue skies got even brighter. A fireball shooting across the southeastern U.S. spotted around midday from the Carolinas to Florida.
Just a huge ball of fire just literally fell out of the sky.
Did y'all see it? The fireball that just fell like from the sky.
Garrett Thrift was driving with his daughter when he saw the bright flash.
It sounds like when you see this go across the sky, there's part of you that's worried what's going on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely not something you see every day.
In Georgia, officials say someone reported that a rock fell through their ceiling as people thought they were experiencing an earthquake. So what are we looking at? The National Weather Service says this appears to be a meteor or space junk, which even showed up on satellite-based lightning detection. The American Meteor Society says it's received around 150 reports.
So many people felt it, their windows rattled, their doors rattled, they heard a rumble, and that's what generates this interest.
I was trying to see the cross, boom, bright flash.
And whatever it was, the surprise offering a potential bright spot on an already sunny day. Jesse Kirsch, NBC News.
And Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich joins us live on WCNC Plus. He was at a weather conference in Idaho, but he shared with us why so many folks were able to see this thing from so many different places.
The top of the atmosphere, you know, we see the space station fly over all the time over the entire East Coast. When there's rocket launches from Cape Canaveral going up the East Coast, we see them. So you see them over a large area. When they're low on the horizon, that means it's really far away. If it were to be right over you, it would be straight above your head. So because of the curvature of the Earth, that's why everybody saw it from Virginia, Tennessee, all the way to South Carolina and North Carolina.
Chris joins us to further explain it.
Of course, because we love all meteors out there.
Yes.
Now, the Weather IQ have done before is technically rain is a hydrometeor, but not actually any sort of meteors that we're talking about, the things that come from the sky, because the definition of a meteor is really any phenomenon that comes from the sky.
Right.
So I want to talk a little bit more about the difference between a meteor, fireball, and bolide. Now, a meteor is usually what we call a shooting star. And we mentioned this over on WCNC, that the typical size of a space rock, a meteoroid that's going to cause the meteor, is usually about the size of a grain of sand, or up to 1 millimeter.
So in the movies, it's like the size of like your car.
Yeah,
That's not the case.
That would technically, at that point, it's becoming an asteroid. So once it gets to that size, but then they could be as much of about the size of a pea, or up to about a centimeter size. That's typically when you see the fireballs. So the bigger the meteoroid, that's before it enters the Earth's atmosphere, the brighter that it's going to be. Once you start getting to bolide territory, we're talking about that thing was bigger than a centimeter, and likely it had enough weight to it that it made all the way down to the surface. And that's exactly what we saw there. And at that point, things are exploding. Things are super bright, and you're actually going to hear the sound of it.
So let me ask a question.
Yes.
Did this thing land somewhere?
Supposedly, yes.
Or did it just burn off and go out from the atmosphere?
There's speculations that it did land somewhere, so somebody might be finding a meteorite out there.
I was going to say, is it still called a meteorite, even though it's the bolide? That's just because of the size?
Yeah, so a meteorite, as soon as it hits the ground, it's a meteorite.
Right.
So that's how I remember it. You might find a meteorite. Anything streaking across the sky is a meteor, and then you'll find a meteoroid in outer space, how I put it.
I like that reminder.
I like that.
Could you imagine finding it, though? How cool that would be? And would you know exactly what in the world?
I don't think I would know.
Statistically, though, more than likely, it could very well landed in the ocean, right? Because of the Earth's surface.
Yeah, it could have.
Right.
And we'll never know.
And there's also a chance that it was a piece of space junk, is what some reports
And you
were going.
wouldn't even recognize it.
Yeah, wouldn't even recognize it. Yeah,
Bottom
and
line is people saw something crazy flying in the
Because
sky.
here's what I take away from science fiction movies.
Okay.
It's the size of an SUV, and it's going to land in your living room.
Correct.
When in fact, it's the size of a pea, and usually it goes out into the ocean.
They like to dramatize things.
Right.
a little
Okay.
bit.
Okay.
You know,
I get it
gotta
now.
sell it.
Yep.
Okay.
So no SUV-sized bolides that we have to worry
Now we know.
about.
Now we know.
We're good to go, but it's very rare to see it in the middle of the day, so we understand the cause of concern there. So let me get this meteor space junk out of the way. We already explained those space rocks. Now we're going to talk about hydrometeors, rain, where a cloud, fog, rain, snow, those are all classified as hydrometeors in meteorology. I know it's a confusing concept, but we are mainly talking about rain and storms. Isolated storm activity possible on Sunday heading into Monday, and then rain becomes likely on Tuesday. So this part of WCNC Plus, I'm going to focus just on the rain. Now, we'll of course talk about temperatures in between, but I want to talk about all the rain chances heading into the weekend, because for a lot of us, these are the most important days of the week, because we want to do some stuff outside, like golf. Golf is great earlier on, but of course here in the Carolinas, anything after 2, anything can go, where it could be a difference between the back 9 to the front 9 of who sees rain or not. And that's going to be the scenario that we have for today. So here's what it looks like. First off, anyone that's north of this yellow line is going to have a chance for a strong thunderstorm. That's the way it goes. Any thunderstorm that pops up could be a strong thunderstorm. I'm not seeing an exceptional threat here. I think tomorrow actually has a better chance for a severe thunderstorm than what we have today, but regardless, it's going to be there. We see rain developing up in the high country really between about 11 to 2. That's where we see most of the activity, but then we see 1, 2, 3, 4, a few storms popping up. Just 1 to 2 around 5 o'clock, and then a few more heading into the evening. That's the isolated nature of these, so it's not as concentrated as we saw the last couple of days, aka we don't have as big of a storm chance today compared to what we have tomorrow. Tomorrow, check this out. I think noon, you're fine. Once you get to around 2, we're starting to see some suspicions that things are happening. I think at this point you might have a storm on the map, but most likely we're starting to see those billowing cumulus clouds. They're growing in the vertical vertical. They're large. They're taking over the sky. When they start turning a little bit darker, we're starting to get to cumulonimbus status. I really think that spreads after 2 to 4 o'clock. We're seeing clusters of storms just like we saw yesterday. Not everyone's going to see them, but a severe thunderstorm warning not out of the question for tomorrow, but nothing really exceptional for the afternoon. And then going forward, it's not until we have a front that rolls through on Tuesday that we have the best chance for rain. So whenever you have a hot and humid day, you're going to have a chance for a thunderstorm to pop up here in the Carolinas. Whenever you have a cold front driving into that heat and humidity, that creates a lot more widespread activity. So there's a good chance we could have some strong thunderstorms rolling in on Tuesday heading into Wednesday. There's still just a lot of uncertainty exactly what that front is going to do after it passes. But regardless, it's going to cool us down. We're down to 88 degrees on Wednesday, back up to 90 on Thursday. But check it out. We're ranging from 88 to 93 degrees over the next 7 days. So enjoy it. Today still has a chance to feel like 100 degrees, but hey, it's better than where we just were. Hopefully our morning commute is doing better, but it usually picks up at this point. So let's check in with Majestic.
All right, good Friday morning, everyone. It is a beautiful start to our weekend. We are heading into a great start to the day. I-85 here, not looking too bad. Lots of sunshine. You can see nice dry roads. People are heading out the door. Traffic is starting to become a little busier out that direction. I-77, though, it's a whole different story. If you usually take I-77 southbound, you may have some issues this morning. I've been following this very carefully. This is mile marker 88 right here. You can kind of see how slow moving those cars are here. And then just another perspective, I-77 southbound again at Sutton Road. Just a few minutes ago, this was stopped. It seems like we're seeing some improvement, so hopefully that'll be the trend moving forward. Want to show you my live traffic map, though, because here's that backup. It's about 6.5 miles between areas like over towards Fort Mill. That's where we are seeing the most significant slowdowns there. So if you don't want to get stuck in that, you just want to take a different route, this is going to be your best bet. Taking I-77 southbound, get off at exit 90, that's Carowinds Boulevard, and then just take Highway 21 straight south. That'll be your best bet if you want to avoid that stop and go traffic that's continuing. For most of us, though, across the Charlotte metro area, we're not seeing anything too out of the ordinary. We do have one crash, though. It's on Hoover Street and Robertson Ave. We're seeing a little bit of yellow pop up, meaning just some medium impacts. Otherwise, I-85 is looking all right. We'll take another check on my roads coming up here quickly.
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle. What to do this weekend? One great place to visit is the Sullenberger Aviation Museum right here in Charlotte. Kind of the history of aviation from the classic biplanes to this one. The amazing Miracle on the Hudson is right there at the Sullenberger Aviation Museum near Charlotte Douglas International Airport. Open today, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Saturday this weekend, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Sunday, noon to 4:30 p.m. Log on to sullenbergeraviation.org, sullenbergeraviation.org for all the information. The Sullenberger Aviation Museum, a great place to visit this weekend. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
All right, Larry, thanks so much. Well, the NBA draft is complete, and later today, the Charlotte Hornets will introduce their newest players. The team grabbed another Duke Blue Devil in last night's second round, taking Sion James at number 33. Now, he's a power forward who rejoins teammate Con Knippel. And with the 34th pick, the Hornets selected 7-footer Ryan Kalkbrenner out of Creighton. The two talked with WCNC shortly after their names were called.
Playing 5 years of college basketball definitely helps with that. You just get a little maturity there and a little more polished as a player. So I think I can come in and help right away. With that being said, though, I think my potential is way higher than people think. I think I'm going to keep getting better and better, but I feel like I can definitely step in right away and help this team.
And I'm super excited to get up to Charlotte and to get working. Just super excited to go and get ready. And then especially having Con there, too. I love him. I called him already. I'll be giving him a big hug the first time I see him tomorrow, and then we'll be good to go from there.
Love their enthusiasm. All right, take a look. Here are the 4 new Hornets: Knippel, McNeely, James, and Kalkbrenner. Now, they are three-point shooters, defensive specialists, 7-footers, different physical attributes. So fingers crossed, things are going to be looking up for the Hornets.
And folks, already excited. Take a look at this. Fans gathered at Charlotte Douglas yesterday to welcome the Hornets' newest draft class to the Queen City. Knippel and McNeely arrived to Charlotte after being selected in the first round. The two thank the crowd for welcoming them and say they are excited to get to work. Very cool.
Look how tall they are over the crowd there, right?
Right?
I know.
No, that was a great draft because they first off have those early picks. That's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember that player from Creighton doing great during the tournament. And the biggest thing is Kahn's biggest downfall is his defense, and he picked up two great defenders as well.
Oh,
so I think you have a lot of great bench players. As I mentioned, we're on the up and up, y'all. Now we're kind of at the bottom, but we're on the up and up.
That's all right.
On our way up.
Just like I've said, we're not 110 degrees like we were the other day.
On the way down, but that's a good thing.
Anything's better than that after
That's
that.
a great thing.
Live pictures right now over uptown on this Friday morning. Chris is standing by now also with a look at your forecast for Friday and for your weekend. Plus Majestic has the latest on your Friday morning commute that's coming your way right here on WCNC Plus.
Carolina Blues, how do you do? We have 74 degrees right now, 71s. Monroe around Rock Hill, 69 right around Morganton and Shelby. It's a gorgeous start to the day. We will see temperatures jump up into the mid-90s today. Today's actually the hottest day I have over the next 7. Still has a shot to feel close to 100 degrees. I think you'd have a real feel around 99 to 100 occasionally on and off through the afternoon. So it's still another humid day, but it's better than where we have been. You notice on the 7-day forecast, I do not have any red bars. We are not weather alert for today, nor do we have a heat advisory, but each day does have a chance for an isolated storm. Today, an isolated storm could greet us after 2 o'clock. Saturday, I think they become a little bit more scattered compared to some of the other days. Our best chance for rain over the next 7 will be Tuesday as a cold front rolls through. That'll actually bring us back to 88 degrees, so one day in the 80s. That's exceptional. Let's head over to Majestic and see what's going on.
Good Friday morning, everyone. Heading out the door, we are still watching some traffic build on I-77 southbound. This is in York County, so if you are in South Carolina traveling southbound, you're going to have slow-moving traffic. This is Gold Hill Road. You can see all of that congestion here. It's been ongoing for quite some time, and it's really because of construction that's continuing. You can see all the red here. This is about a 6.5-mile backup. Your alternate route is to really just take Carowinds Boulevard and then Highway 21 to get around it.
Thanks for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. A major transportation bill just cleared the North Carolina General Assembly. Today it actually goes to the governor's desk, and it could have a big impact. It's hard to overstate this on growing communities in and around Charlotte. It's being called the PAVE Act. It's going to be a game changer. It means more rails, more buses, more roads all around the Queen City.
It could change your commute for decades to come. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live with what this bill means for Mecklenburg County and what's next for you. Destiny.
Yeah, good morning. If Governor Josh Stein signs this bill, then a 1-cent sales tax would be on the ballot in November. That means Mecklenburg County voters could have a say in major transit and transportation projects for decades to come here in the county. Now, breaking this all down, 40% of that sales tax revenue, would go straight to towns and cities across the county to spend on road projects. The other 60% would go to creating a new independent transit authority. It means millions invested in light rail expansion and bus service, including the creation of the new Red Line rail. There were some concerns in the General Assembly about the new transit authority, if it could be held accountable in using these funds and how it would impact state projects. In committee on Wednesday, many senators said they're supportive of the idea, but will be watching the impacts.
Allow them to be a little bit more of an independent agent and less reliant on state funds for transportation that could be better spent in other places. So I think that might be something to just think about looking forward.
So again, even if Stein approves this bill, it'll still be ultimately up to Mecklenburg County voters to decide. And there's also been some inspiration across the state. Other leaders across the state in Forsyth and Buncombe County, other senators have said that they would like to possibly create similar versions of this bill. So there will be a larger impact if this succeeds. Ben, Lisa.
And Destiny, I imagine that there were some things that were left out of the final bill that many communities were hoping would be included with this.
Yeah, it was the Silver Line extension to Matthews that was excluded. I believe we've reported on recently the Matthews mayor speaking out about just being left out of light rail extension plans. So this was something that was also discussed in General Assembly about the southeast part of Mecklenburg County essentially being left out of this. But as it is, the PAVE Act as it is moving forward.
And I think as it stands right now, they've talked about some sort of rapid bus system that would go out
instead of rail.
Instead of rail, and that the Silver Line could still perhaps go from uptown to the airport, but not anything beyond that. Gotcha. Destiny Richards reporting live for us. Destiny, thank you for that.
And it's a better morning so far. 74 feels like 74. We did this yesterday as well, so we're pretty much on par to what we had yesterday. I think the only difference is there might be hair warmer today. Yesterday we hit a spike right around 93 where we had a real feel that reached about 100 degrees. We're going to be pretty close to that overall. We're keeping the same mugginess around. It does come down a little bit for the afternoon, so that is going to factor in for our real feel. Temperatures elsewhere besides Charlotte, you have 76 in Rockingham, 77 for you in Chirac. Usually you're the overachiever at this time in the morning. 73 around Statesville, and then 61 for you in Boone. So good morning all. Our out the door forecast, I'm happy to say that it's a delightful one. Temperatures are warming up to around 90 degrees as early as noon. It could feel like the mid-90s at that point. That's still not great, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot better than where we should be, or a lot better than where we were, but it's where we should be is what my sentence was supposed to say. And our afternoon storm chances are going to be around. I think it's a much better chance heading into the evening. However, it does look like things are trending to be very isolated and far less than what we saw yesterday. Our temperature trend in general as we work our way into the weekend, this is sensational. 93, 91 to 92 to 90 degrees. So that means we're rocking the lower 90s. And we should have a typical high about 89 degrees for this day in climatology. But eventually we start to see the general shift of 90 to 91 starting on the 30th, which I'm actually over here looking at the calendar. 30th is this Monday, so that's when our average high officially moves up to 90 degrees, and we do that through the middle of August. I want to mention a few stats that I dug up a little bit earlier on our newscast. So far, June has actually really been the top of some of the record books that I've looked at so far. Check this out. I average all of our low temperatures together, and we've had an average low of 69.7 degrees. That's the 5th warmest lows that we've had in June history through 26 days. Now, of course, we're not done yet, but up to this point, we don't have a lot of days left, so likely these numbers aren't going to move too much or the ranks. But the warmest we on record is well into the 80s, but we're averaging 79.3 degrees so far through this month. Well, guess what? So far, we are the 11th warmest June overall. And looking at overall June, I think that we're at least going to finish anywhere from 10th to 12th for the warmest Junes on records. And April was the warmest of all time in Charlotte history. Current temperatures that I just showed you, 74 degrees, are going to warm up nicely to that 93 degree point. And then once you head into the evening, that's where you're seeing temperatures on the downward slope down to either side of 80 degrees around 10 to 11. Now let's talk about those rain and storm chances. I think the highest potential for storms in general is right here. That's in the mountains and the foothills. Between about 11 and 2, chance for storms to pop up. For us, after 2 o'clock, that's where you have a storm here and there across the greater Charlotte area, just throughout the afternoon. That's that typical summertime pattern. So some of us could get wet, but most of us look to stay dry. Our 7-day forecast, the lower 90s. We will follow the 88 degree point as a cold front passes, and then 90 degrees on Thursday. And heading into the 4th of July, we'll start to warm up back to the lower to the mid 90s. But hey, much better than where we have been, and this is where we should be. Let's head over to Majestic, see how traffic's looking.
All right, good morning, everyone. Want to show you a live look outside as you're heading out the door. It is a gorgeous Friday morning. Maybe you're heading off to work or you're just going out for your morning walk or run. You can't go wrong. I-85 here at Sugar Creek, not looking too bad. But if you're taking I-77 out there in South Carolina, York County, I'm talking to you. You have been my watch spot this morning because there has been this ongoing construction that's really been slowing people down. There's a live look, I-77, southbound lanes and northbound lanes. Now both of them really just blocking up. That's exit or mile marker 88 right there. So let's switch it over to my map. Let's give you more perspective on what's going on. This is the exact location here. You see all this red, both north and southbound lanes now being impacted between Forest Lake and Fort Mill. So if you typically drive this way, it's either going to delay you about 10 to 20 minutes or just take the alternate route. If you're coming in from the north heading south, take exit 90, that's Carowinds Boulevard, and then get onto Highway 21, or if you're coming from the south to the north, taking Highway 21 will be your best option just in general. We have one ongoing accident. There's a lane that's blocked because of a crash. Cross Point Circle near Independence. It's not on Independence though, so it's off to the side. You can see Independence right there is mainly in the green, and then we start to see our typical slowdowns as we get a little closer to the uptown area. That's what I'm watching for right now. We'll give you another update coming up here shortly. Ben.
Majestic, thanks. We are working to learn more about an overnight shooting in Northeast Charlotte. It happened at an apartment complex on Merrick Street, right off North Tryon near Old Concord Road. Police responded to a number of 911 calls just before 11:30. When they got there, they found a victim who had been shot and killed. We're still working to learn more about that victim's identity and a potential suspect.
7:38 now. A WCNC Charlotte investigation found an area school district has refused to take on a potentially life-saving responsibility. Despite terrified parents begging for change, WCNC Charlotte's Nate Morabito discovered Union County Public Schools are denying kids with a rare disorder around-the-clock access to a shot that could save their lives.
Dominic D'Amato never wants to revisit the day his son Harrison,
he was 8 months old, literally gray and lifeless,
nearly died while battling the flu. But when you're raising a child with congenital adrenal hyperplasia, all it takes is an infection or a broken bone to send parents right back to that moment.
Sorry.
CAH is a rare genetic disorder that affects the adrenal glands. It requires maintenance medicine multiple times a day. And if something triggers a life-threatening adrenal crisis, demands either a stress dose taken by mouth,
he couldn't stomach the medication, he kept vomiting it,
or an emergency steroid shot in the thigh muscle.
So this is an emergency kit.
That shot,
the medication itself is this white powder,
which his parents always carry with them,
and then you flip it over and draw the medication with a syringe.
Saved Harrison's life then.
Snapped right out of it.
And would do the same if the 6-year-old ever goes into crisis again.
Yeah.
But depending on the day, there's no guarantee he'd get it immediately at school when needed.
That's exactly what we're worried about.
As it stands, Union County Public Schools only allows school nurses to give out this kind of shot.
She's only there 2 days a week.
A problem most school days at Harrison's elementary school.
It's just scary.
And a concern 1 day a week at a different Union County elementary school that Danielle Piazza's 7-year-old son attends.
He could die.
Oliver's mom says in the boy's short life so far, he's already gone into crisis twice outside of school and needed injections both times.
Both incidents were just so scary.
Piazza says school staff are open to getting trained.
They are absolutely willing to do it, and the district is not allowing them.
But Union County Public Schools has told both families no one other than nurses can give the injection. Citing state law, the district's attorney told the parents the shot cannot be delegated to unlicensed staff in the school environment. The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services says not only is that not true, no one can tell a registered nurse whether they should or should not delegate their duties. Instead, that decision falls squarely on the school nurse's shoulders and is based on the individual student and application of the North Carolina Board of Nursing decision tree.
Honestly, I think it's fear from the actual syringe.
Hoping it would help their cause, Harrison's family secured a doctor's note urging the district to change its stance, saying this is similar to using an EpiPen for a peanut allergy or glucagon for a child with diabetes, and noting this drug cannot be overdosed, making the risk almost negligible.
It rips my heart apart, knowing that my son could be in severe danger.
Both families have even said they'd sign liability waivers. He has the same thing.
100%.
The D'Amato family is actually twice as likely to see history repeat itself. Harrison's little brother has the same rare disorder. The 3-year-old is going to face the same issue when he gets to school.
Yes, he will.
Which is why their parents are desperate for Union County to make a change now.
Yeah, it would be a great relief.
Despite the state's stance and our questions, a school district spokesperson told us school health leadership decided against allowing other employees to give this shot due to what Union County Public Schools calls a detailed and intricate injection process. Adding, if there's a health crisis emergency, school administrators and nurses are trained to respond safely and appropriately. These families don't believe the existing response, which is call 911 and wait for EMS to arrive, is enough to save a child's life. Nate Morabito, WCNC Charlotte.
A new project on I-85 could bring relief for drivers. It looks to widen a 10-mile stretch from 3 lanes each way to 4.
While the project could lessen headaches for drivers, it's causing headaches for some homeowners. WCNC Charlotte's Walker Lawson spoke to one family about how much this is impacting them.
For people driving in Gaston County, they know just how busy I-85 can get. And NCDOT is currently working on a plan to widen the interstate. But some families here say that widening project will completely change their backyards.
Here are my tomatoes, so this is what I lose if it stayed by my property.
For Elizabeth Williams, her backyard garden is more than just a patch of soil.
And I made this beautiful garden. I love gardening. It's my self-relief.
It's a beautiful place where she spends most of her days with vegetables flourishing.
I have tomatoes, I have pumpkin, I have Korean spinach.
But the state has other plans for a section of her property, as they're looking to expand I-85 in Gaston County from exit 17 to 27. The project would expand this 10-mile stretch from 3 lanes in each direction to 4. Williams says the state has asked for 10 feet of her property. And while she understands these improvements need to be made to address traffic, she says they need to do more for her land.
So by the state buying my property, they have to buy the whole thing instead of buying the 10 acres. I mean the 10 feet. That does me no justice.
It's not only putting the interstate in her backyard, but taking away a very sentimental piece.
Me. So this flamingo represents my mom. This is my only memory. To keep my love and flowing for my mom. It may not be an issue to somebody, but it's my issue.
For those impacted, the NC Eminent Domain law firm is hosting a free virtual seminar on July 10th to answer questions. Head to our mobile app for details. Reporting in Gaston County, Walker Lawson, WCNC Charlotte.
7:45 now. Imagine breezing through airport security without having to dump your drink or unpack your laptop. That could happen soon. Take a look at this. A North Carolina startup is working on an advanced X-ray scanner that could make airport security faster, safer, and even let you carry your liquids. The Duke University spin-out aims to replace old baggage scanners and better detect threats. They plan to start testing at airports as soon as next year. Well, speaking of travel, Charlotte Douglas has a few reminders this morning for those of you who are flying out for the 4th of July holiday. Officials are expecting more than 900,000 travelers, with the busiest days being July 3rd, 6th, and 7th. To make sure that you have an easy time at the airport, you are urged to arrive early and to book your parking online.
We are getting new images this morning of the damage from destructive storms yesterday across the southeast. Take a look at this. This is just almost unimaginable. This house picked up, suspended in air before it finally drops back down to the ground. This is in a tornado there in Florida. Just unbelievable to see. And somebody was inside at the time, believe it or not. Beth Rousseau talked to the woman who captured it all on her doorbell camera.
The damage that you're seeing to this home happened because a tornado lifted the entire thing up and then set it back down. The windows are shattered. You can see the roof is gone. There's furniture that you can see through the actual house. This all happened while the owner was sitting inside, and the whole incident was captured on this doorbell camera.
There was a lady in there. I guess when the house went up, it stayed up for a few seconds and then popped back down. The whole house come up in the air, and she said she rolled around a few times, and then she had debris on top of her when the house finally landed, but she managed to get herself out.
Seeing this kind of damage and destructions, neighbors say they are so relieved that the homeowner who was inside when this happened is safe, and they say they're even more grateful for the way that the community has come together to help with the cleanup. Back to you.
I mean, often we'll say a storm picks up a house. That actually picked up the house.
Picked up the house.
And then just dropped it right back
Could
down.
you imagine being inside?
No, I can't.
Did it say where she went? Did she go into like a storm shelter or just like the most interior part of the house?
It didn't appear that there was much of an interior. It didn't look like a very large house.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not sure if it was a mobile home or not, but it looked like it was fairly minimal.
Sometimes all it takes though is just getting into like a closet or a bathroom or something that does not have windows or something that's just super confined, and it saves lives.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because a lot of times they have those mobile homes that are converted over to a foundation.
Exactly. I think that might be something like it.
That's not still a typical foundation that you have in a house, so it's not as strong. So that's the reason why I think it withheld and then came down, just kind of got plopped back down.
Wild.
Just showing the pure power of that. And yeah, it's been an awful week severe weather-wise. From the video that we saw from what happened in Lake Tahoe to the lightning that we've had recently, and even here locally, seeing some of the hail and the frequent light shows. And we're gonna do it again. We have severe threats really up into the Dakotas once again, and then we also have a low chance for a severe storm to pop up anywhere along the Appalachian Mountain Trail. But here's the deal. We have a low risk for storms. I haven't really showed this too much because I think we have a higher storm chance tomorrow, and we don't have any threat by the Storm Prediction Center for tomorrow. It's just a better energy. And here, let me show you. So this is our storm fuel. So my man Rusty, who's directing this show, he was just talking about learning about CAPE. So I want to bring this up. So thanks for inspiring this, Rusty. So CAPE is convective available potential energy, or as we like to call it, storm fuel, because that is more typical that you would understand outside of the meteorological mind. But really what you have to get and grasp from this graphic is the bright shadings, the bright whites and the yellows are moderate to a high storm fuel. The reds are relatively low. And we see the reds all the time, pretty much most hours during the afternoon or in the summertime. But the more moisture that you have, the more storm fuel is going to be. And whenever you start to see that gray, forming, that means you actually have the exact opposite of storm fuel. What we just saw was a loop from Friday heading into Saturday. You can already see the difference by simply looking at more yellow compared to red. So I think we have a higher storm threat. We are looking at a CAPE of over 2,500 joules per kilogram. We're just getting too fancy now, raising your weather IQ. But that just simply means I think you have a higher threat for more of those numerous storms, and also the higher the moisture content, the more lightning there's going to be as well. So not only do I think you see more storms tomorrow, I also think there's going to be more lightning with those storms as well. Heading into Sunday, it's kind of a little bit more typical for your Friday, just isolated pop-up guys. So for your golfing forecast for tomorrow, check it out. We actually have a better chance for storms a little bit later on in the afternoon. I think likely you're going to actually stay dry for today. Yes, you are going to see some developing storms here in the mountains. So if you're watching from Avery, Watauga, and Nash County, thanks a lot for joining us here on WCNC Plus. Tell your friends. We will see a pop-up shower or thunderstorm here and there across the area. But again, tomorrow I think is a much better chance. We have a 40 to 30% chance for your Saturday and Sunday, 91, 92. Nice to be where we should be this time of year. But I want to show you this futurecast real quick before I go. Seeing an isolated storm turn into a little bit more of a scattered and numerous environment. This is right in the middle of the afternoon. So you can have a great pool day. The clouds start to really take over. You can tell the sky when it's about to storm. And then we just see a better chance overall. So it's not a guarantee that you're going to see these. I just want to help plan your Saturday and Sunday. So if you are trying to roll the dice here, I think the best chance for a storm is on Saturday. Better chance to stay dry on Sunday. Both days pretty much feeling the same. Our 10-day forecast, wanted to throw this on here. July 4th, that's right, it's inside. We will be back to the lower to the mid-90s at that point. But in the meantime, either side of 90, where we should be this time of the year. Majestic, take it away. What's going on for our 7:51 morning commute?
All right, here we go. It is beautiful outside. I want to show you a few of our cameras here. This is I-77 coming in from York County. It has been kind of my watch spot throughout the morning time because we've been seeing a lot of backups because of simply construction that has really slowed people down. We're seeing still some flow within traffic. It'll stop and then it'll go. It'll stop and it'll go. And that's kind of how the trend has been this morning. So showing you my live traffic map, we aren't seeing anything too out of the ordinary. Again, still seeing that red because of that congestion and that traffic that's building right there. You can see it on I-77. Right now, it's actually both north and southbound lanes out towards Fort Mill. So if you want to just avoid it, I would suggest still taking I-77 south, get off at exit 90, and then take Highway 21 to get around it. This accident right here, it looks like it's on Independence, but it's actually not. It's off to the side. It's on Cross Point Circle near Independence right there. As we zoom it on out, you can see for the most part, though, we're not seeing anything significant at this point. We'll have another check on those roads coming up in just a few.
Well, there's a different kind of fight happening in West Charlotte where teens are putting down the guns and picking up boxing gloves.
WCNC Charlotte's Siobhan Riley shows us how one local coach is seeking solutions and making a real impact.
Here at Charlotte Boxing Academy, students are taught to fight with their boxing gloves and put down the guns. One student I spoke with said this program is making a huge impact.
Roll. Catch.
Coach Sean Jackson is teaching students how to fight crime with boxing gloves.
Slip, roll, 2, 3, 2. You can actually come somewhere and you can learn a skill that you can transfer over to your life because you'll get discipline, you'll get love, you'll get correction.
12-year-old Jeremiah Brown comes to Charlotte Boxing Academy in West Charlotte, where students like himself say the training teaches leadership and self-discipline.
Just staying out of trouble and just keeping them managing their anger issues and all that. And this sport is to take it out and boxing.
Come on, you got it.
Jackson started coaching because of the impact it had on his life.
Catch.
The biggest lesson he wants students to learn is how one bad decision can change everything.
And I saw a lot of my friends get caught in the lifestyle of guns and drugs, but this, along with my family and my relationship with church and God, that kind of helped to steer me in a path where it kept me out of those things. Good? Ain't too tight, is it?
He believes this program is one solution to fighting violence in a community where even some of the kids he coached were impacted by gun violence.
Some of them that actually didn't get shot or killed, but got caught up in gun and gang violence. So it saddens us because we still try to go to the prison sometime and visit them.
The nonprofit develops competitive amateur boxers. 2 boxers went on to earn the Youth World Champion titles. Brown says having mentors he can look up to is helping him get one step closer to reaching his goal.
Y'all gonna see me in a few years, being on the big stage, a world champion one day, and a Hall of Fame.
Double those up, double them up.
In West Charlotte, Siobhan Riley, WCNC Charlotte.
There you go.
Sometimes all kids need is just a diversion.
Exactly.
You know, it's as simple as that.
And you
know.
don't know the impact that you could have just by, offering something that keeps them their attention.
Yep. And they learn something at the same time and something they might enjoy for the rest of their life too.
Definitely. All right, we are going to take a quick break. Make sure you keep it right here on WCNC Plus. In fact, just keep us on all day. We're going to be back with the day's top headlines at the top of the hour.
Who's ready for your weekend? So it's still going to be a hot day. It's still going to be a humid day. You still have a chance for an isolated storm. But why am I so happy? Because our hourly heat index graphic for the first time this week doesn't have multiple bars that say 100 plus. That's right. I still think you could maybe touch that 100-degree mark, but for the most part, we're feeling like the mid to the upper 90s. Yes, a nice little change. We do have a chance for a thunderstorm, though. Some could be strong, especially up here in the mountains and the foothills between about 11 and 2. Best chance for storms there, but some isolated storms will pop up. There's the slightest chance that some of those could turn strong to severe. So I'm not discounting that we couldn't have a severe storm or two. It's just, I think that the energy is a little bit better for tomorrow. Check out our rain chances. I actually moved today to just an isolated chance, but more of a scattered chance for storms on Saturday, and it's likely on Tuesday. Let's head over to traffic with Majestic to see how traffic's behaving.
All right, good Friday morning, everyone. It's a beautiful start to the day, isn't it? I want to show you our live traffic maps. As for the most part, it's not too bad. We've definitely seen much worse. I-77 southbound has been our watch spot all morning long. There's been a ton of construction that's been slowing people down. You can still see some of that backup there. A live look outside. It is gorgeous on York County in York County. You can see Gold Hill right there. Still moving, but might be a little slow for some of you. We do have a stalled vehicle on Central Ave and Briar Creek Road, so take it easy and have a great Friday.
streaming live right now at 8 a.m. on a Friday morning here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. Triple-digit heat pushed the power grid to the limit this week. Duke Energy says customers helped prevent outages by cutting back during peak hours.
The company just set a new summer usage record, and it's a sign of what's to come as temperatures stay high, and we're still only in June. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live this morning with a look at that record-breaking demand and what it means for all of our power bills. Richard?
Yeah, you can get lower power bills, Ben. Good morning to you. Good morning, Lisa. Good Friday morning. When it's so hot and sunny out here already, I'm going to put on shades. Now, it's not as hot as it was earlier this week, and that's good. But while it still is hot, you're still going to be using a lot of electricity. So Duke is thanking its customers for actually pitching in to help them protect the grid and for customers to save money. Now, Duke says the customer cooperation played a major role in helping them manage the electric grid as energy demand surged to record levels earlier this week. On Tuesday, Duke set a new summertime usage record with more than 35,000 megawatt hours that surpassed the previous high that was set just last year. Duke credits this achievement to the support of customers who reduced their electricity use during peak afternoon hours, as well as the crews and those operators who they say worked around the clock to keep the grid running smoothly. More than 521,000 customers across the Carolinas participated in Duke's demand response programs. That helps ease the strain during the hottest parts of the day. And as summer continues, as you know, those temperatures are going to continue to rise. So Duke says it wants folks to remember that small energy saving actions like raising the thermostat, using appliances in the morning or non-peak hours, and closing blinds can all help reduce bills, avoid high demand periods, and of course, save you money.
In North Carolina, those rebates or those incentives actually have increased as of the beginning of the year. So even more bang for your buck there. And so the incentives really are for, you know, if you need a new HVAC or if you want to upgrade your insulation in your home, you know, really help make your home more energy efficient. We have rebates that can really help significantly, you know, on your wallet when it's time to make those upgrades to your home.
Yeah, all of that is great information. We have all of that on our website, which links over to Duke Energy's website, where you can not only conserve energy, but save some money and get some money back for some upgrades. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
Yeah, any other incentives, though? I mean, yeah, lower power bills, but any other incentive for folks or reward for folks who take part?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the HVAC program, if you want to get a new HVAC, you get new energy efficient appliances. If you go to their website or their mobile app, and I'm really talking to Lisa right now because she's the one who'll follow these instructions and learn from it. You go to the website and you'll find out ways you can save money or even get rebates for doing things to conserve your energy. They've got a couple of cost saving programs, like if you spread your bill out over the year, you can save money by doing that. They have also programs where you can get those rebates or those incentives, as they say, for doing things like upgrading that HVAC unit. I don't know anyone out there who needs a new HVAC unit who hasn't done so yet and taken advantage of the program, but I'm sure there's somebody out there, and I'm sure that Lisa will find that person to make sure that they do it soon.
You know what, Richard? I really appreciate that information.
I'm not above public shaming. It's okay.
You're on top of it, Lisa.
I'll learn from it, and we're in the process.
No shaming. I didn't mention any names.
Okay.
I did not mention a name. Did not mention a name.
All right, Richard Devane.
Thank you, Richard.
Yes.
All right, Chris sitting by. He's got a look at your weather impact forecast, and you know, routine heat is something that we'll accept.
Exactly, and I'm not even going to mention the status of my HVAC because I don't want Richard to come down on me. Presto changeo, some forecast changes that I personally have made over the last hour, because as we go through WCNC Plus, sometimes I realize, okay, I'm going to adjust a few things. So here it is. For one, this isn't really much of a change, but today is the top. I was calling for 93 and moved to 94. The way things are kind of shaping up, I think that we could get just a little bit warmer. Yes, it'd be at 93, so I'm talking about 1 degree, simply 1 degree. How it feels, today feels better, but it's still stuffy, and we're comparing really comparing this to the middle of the week. And our storm chances, they're isolated today. So I did downgrade our storm chance for today, and I upgraded it for Saturday. Saturday, I think, is our best chance for a strong thunderstorm, even though the Storm Prediction Center says otherwise for tomorrow. But then today, still an isolated strong storm is not out of the question. Also, I think our heat index gets to around 100 degrees. I mentioned you could touch it, and it's like right around here. And now this came up to 98. The numbers are going all over the place. But I think 4 o'clock is going to be the hottest hour, feeling like it's around 100 degrees. So I just want to wrap this up with a bow, talk about our rainfall chances. The two best chances for rain as of right now looks to be Saturday afternoon to the evening, and then again later on Tuesday. Now there's a lot of uncertainty about exactly what's going to happen here. We just know that it's going to be a hot and humid environment with a cold front plowing into it. That's the best way that you rapidly rise a bunch of thunderstorms all at once, and can often lead to lines of thunderstorms to up your wind damage potential. So that's why right now Tuesday shaping up to be our weather highlighter. But each and every day, even one of those isolated chances, because it's hot, it's humid, it's summertime here in the Carolinas, each day we'll have a chance for a strong storm, eventually even turning severe. Just letting you know that I think it's a little more elevated again by tomorrow. So I have a high of 94 for today. Lower 90s after that. I look lazy just saying 92 to 91. And then that cold front, I think, brings us to the upper 80s before we start to see our upward trajectory to around 90 degrees to about the mid 90s through our 4th of July weekend. Now let's talk about today and our storm chances. Notice this. We see our best chance really starting to bud right here around the mountains up in the high country. Strongest storms there with just an isolated storm here and there through the afternoon. That window opens up around 2. I'm not seeing a lot here, y'all. And better chances we get closer to sunset, especially around the I-40 corridor. Anything goes. It's a really tough forecast. I like to be specific, saying, hey, we're going to be dry from this hour to this hour. You're going to see a storm at this point. Really, it's a luck of the draw. Even Mecklenburg County, about how tall it is, could be a big difference from Huntersville down to Matthews, what you see for storms. Tomorrow, though, storms become more scattered. So this is kind of a numbers game. Your chances here are much higher because look at the map. We're looking at least 40% of us impacted by a rain shower or a thunderstorm by about 3 to 4 to 5 o'clock. So if you're having a pool day tomorrow, I would say do it before 2 o'clock. Enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the morning before those clouds start to take over. This will wind down to your Saturday evening, and then we do it again on Sunday, but it will be mainly an isolated shower or two. So again, best chance for rain this weekend, this Saturday, hottest day today, at least over the next 7. Let's head over to Majestic. What's going on, my friend?
Good morning, everyone. Well, it's beautiful outside. We're not seeing any major impacts. I have had my eyes on I-77 southbound, all morning long, because we've been seeing a ton of traffic, a lot of buildups there. But as you can see, this is I-77 at Sutton Road. Things are looking pretty good, flowing nicely as we're now in that 8 o'clock time frame. However, we do have a couple of accidents I want to let you know about. First, let's take a look at still those slow-moving conditions along I-77 southbound. You can see really it's not anything like what we saw within the last 30 minutes, even on my map, but also as we're taking a wide perspective at multiple cameras right now. Seems like really traffic is flowing fine. So if you're heading into South Carolina, you shouldn't have any major concerns on I-77 South. We are watching this. There is a blocked lane because of a stalled vehicle. It's on Central Ave and Briar Creek Road. Again, just keep that in mind. You can still go around it, but just slow it on down. And then this one here, it looks like it's on Independence, but it's actually off to the side of it. It's a crash on Cross Point Circle. There's a lane that's blocked there. I think this is an apartment complex here, so we'll keep a close eye on that for you. Otherwise, as we're just taking another look there at York County, conditions do seem to be better, but if you don't want to be stuck at all in any of that congestion, you can always take Highway 21 for an alternate route.
Majestic, thanks. A major vote from North Carolina's education leaders after a recent data breach put pressure on the state's contract with PowerSchool. It's a portal that teachers, students, and parents use. State officials just approved a 6-month extension for certain programs in the software, but with strict conditions. No payments will be made until PowerSchool submits a full security review, including a forensic audit. And for the first time, the North Carolina National Guard will help oversee a vendor's cybersecurity practices. 8:09 right now on WCNC Plus, and happening today in Washington. House members are expected to learn more about the recent U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. But as NBC's Alice Barr explains, some are still skeptical of that mission and its outcome.
Be close to it, but we have the hottest country in the world.
President Trump fiercely defending the effectiveness of the U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites.
They hit the target, and the target has now been proven to be obliterated.
After the Defense Department revealed new details about the secretive mission, praising the B-2 bomber crews who dropped 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs.
The weapons all guided to their intended targets. The pilots stated, quote, "This was the brightest explosion that I've ever seen."
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff showing test video from the 15 years of work that led to the strikes.
Obliterating, destroying Iran's nuclear capabilities.
It all follows that leaked preliminary assessment by the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency suggesting Iran's nuclear program was set back by just months, though the agency said it had low confidence in those initial findings. The CIA director says credible intelligence indicates the program would take years to rebuild. And now the head of the United Nations nuclear watchdog pointing to enormous damage, saying centrifuges at the critical Fordo site are no longer operational. Senators hearing more in classified briefings with the House up today.
Nobody is going to work in these three sites anytime soon.
One leading Democrat pointing to past intelligence from before the briefings about what may remain.
Some of the enriched uranium was never going to be taken out by a bunker buster bomb.
Urging diplomacy to prevent a future Iranian nuclear threat. President Trump said the U.S. would meet with Iran next week, but the White House says no meeting has been set. The White House reasserted it had been closely watching the targeted sites and did not believe Iran moved any uranium before the strikes, while a senior White House official tells NBC News the administration now plans to limit intelligence sharing with lawmakers after that initial damage assessment leaked. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
We're taking a live look now. This is in New York City, where the closing arguments will resume today in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. The prosecution started its closing arguments yesterday, calling Combs, quote, the leader of a criminal enterprise. He is facing 5 criminal counts, including a count of racketeering conspiracy and 2 counts of sex trafficking by force. Of course, he has pleaded not guilty to all of the charges. Today, his defense team gets their last opportunity with the jurors. Combs, again facing multiple charges, could be sentenced to life in prison if he is convicted. Those jury deliberations begin today or Monday.
It'll be interesting to see just how long those deliberations take. New video this morning. Take a look at this. Stop what you're doing. In the middle of your screen, right there, that tractor trailer, I mean, just nails that utility worker trying to repair a light up in one of those cherry pickers. You can see it now hanging upside down. Somehow, only suffered minor injuries. Didn't even have to go to the hospital. And right there, it happens again. If you look closely, he actually looks at it right before it happens and realizes, my goodness, I'm about to get hit. The State Department of Transportation there in Louisiana says it's a reminder that drivers, no matter who you are, always got to pay attention to workers out there on the road, whether on their side of the road or in the middle of the road, or in this case, above the road. 8:13 right now on WCNC Plus. And trending this morning, fashion icon Anna Wintour is stepping down from her role at Vogue magazine. She's been there nearly 40 years, and she's going to move away from her day-to-day role as editor-in-chief. She is going to remain, though, in other high-level roles at Condé Nast, which is the publisher. The move raising big questions this morning about the future of the magazine and the industry that she helped define.
I mean, even if you don't know fashion, you probably know who Anna Wintour. I mean, she is the icon of fashion. My guess is she's still probably going to be over the Met Gala. I don't know that, but like that's her baby.
Met Gala every year. She was also the inspiration for Meryl Streep's character in Devil Wears Prada. So
yes.
A big impact on American culture, whether you know her or not.
Correct.
All right, check this out. Also trending this morning, folks all across the Southeast, including here in the Carolinas, talking about that fireball in the sky yesterday. Maybe you saw it. This happens to be a video from Anderson, South Carolina. There's a technical name for it. It's called a bolide. It's essentially an extremely bright meteor. NBC's Jesse Kirsch has the story.
Out of nowhere, South Carolina's sunny blue skies got even brighter. A fireball shooting across the southeastern U.S. spotted around midday from the Carolinas to Florida.
Just a huge ball of fire just literally fell out of the sky.
Did y'all see it? A fireball that just fell like from the sky.
Garrett Thrift was driving with his daughter when he saw the bright flash.
It sounds like when you see this go across the sky, there's part of you that's worried what's going on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely not something you see every day.
In Georgia, officials say someone reported that a rock fell through their ceiling as people thought they were experiencing an earthquake. So what are we looking at? The National Weather Service says this appears to be a meteor or space junk, which even showed up on satellite-based lightning detection. The American Meteor Society says it's received around 150 reports.
So many people felt it, their windows rattled, their doors rattled, they heard a rumble, and that's what generates this interest.
Just trying to see the cross, boom, bright flash.
And whatever it was, the surprise offering a potential bright spot on an already sunny day. Jesse Kirsch, NBC News.
Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich joined us here on WCNC Plus. He's actually at a weather conference in Boise, Idaho, but he wanted to jump on with us and explain it. He shared why so many of us were able to see this from so many different places.
The top of the atmosphere, we see the space station fly over all the time over the entire East Coast. When there's rocket launches from Cape Canaveral going up the East Coast, we see them. So you see them over a large area. When they're low on the horizon, that means it's really far away. If it were to be right over you, it would be straight above your head. So because of the curvature of the Earth, that's why everybody saw it from Virginia, Tennessee, all the way to South Carolina and North Carolina.
Quite a sight it was.
Was indeed. I missed it, but I saw so many videos on social media yesterday. And the fascinating for me, this morning you were saying it could have been space junk or it could have been just a meteor that was incredibly small.
Yeah, the average shooting star that you see across our sky is usually about the size of a grain of sand. That's it.
That puts things into perspective. And it
Mind-blowing.
still shines so bright across the sky and seen by so many, but it's so small still.
You just used the term shooting star. Is that any different than?
It's a meteor. It's just more fun to say shooting star.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not a technical thing. Some people was like, that's not real, Chris. But no, it's the meteor that goes across the sky. I like to still call them shooting stars because I like to make wishes,
Yeah.
Is that what other meteorologists sound like? That's not true.
Some of them, 20% of them.
Okay.
20%.
None of the ones that work here, though, and that is an absolute real stat, I assure you. One thing you will see in tonight's sky, though, this is one of my favorite statuses of the moon, or status, is the waxing crescent. It's like that little thumbnail look.
You know what? My kids saw that last night, and they said, I probably shouldn't say this. They said, Mommy, it looks like a toenail.
Yeah, that's better. I was going to say fingernail, but no, it is like it's a big toenail. The big toenail.
I've never thought of it that way.
That's what my kids, we were in the car last night.
I like that. All right, so watch out for the giant toenail in the sky.
Toenail in the sky. That could be a children's book.
No, it really could be. No, but it's going to be 5 to 6% full, and I think that's really cool about this because it literally is just a little sliver, and it's going to peak around 3:40 in the afternoon, and there's actually a folklore that seeing a crescent moon like this in the daytime is good luck. So maybe you're going to have some good luck and good fortune, especially if you see a shooting star. I'm still doubling down on that. The next full moon that we have, it turns full July 10th, and it's always, and this is one of my favorite descriptions here, that whenever you're talking about waxing and waning moons. So whenever you're coming off of a new moon, so when you are coming on, it's wax on. And when it comes from a full moon, it's wane off. So you remember wax on, wane off if you're trying to remember the moon status. All right, I'll move on from my Karate Kid references. Overnight tonight, temperatures dropping down into the lower 70s to the mid 70s on Monday, and then boom, down to 70 on Friday and then 73. What a boring temperature range for lows. Welcome to summer, y'all. This is pretty much where we're going to be dancing for our lows. Highs can be a little bit more interesting, as we just saw. We hit 100 degrees. Now today I did bump us up to 94, the lower 90s to 88, back to the mid 90s for your 4th of July weekend. We're going to transition over to Majestic to see what's going on traffic-wise.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm taking a look at a lot of our different cameras to see what's happening on our Friday morning commute. Noticing a whole lot of sunshine. It is beautiful outside. Whether you're heading off to lunch, maybe you're heading off to breakfast or you're heading out to go play some golf, meet some friends, go for a walk, whatever it may be this morning, it is a nice start to your morning. I-85 here out towards Graham looks fine. Then you can see I-77 south and northbound lanes seem to be flowing just fine. It's been a trouble spot this morning with a lot of traffic that has really slowed down people's morning commute because of a lot of congestion that has built because of construction. As we're looking at my live traffic map, though, we do have a couple of backups here. One accident right here is on Wilkinson Boulevard at Airport Beacon Lane. You can see the yellow popping up, meaning medium impact, so just take it easy. It might slow you down a couple of minutes, but not seeing anything significant. 45, the inner loop here out towards Matthews. Typically, we start to see that traffic build, and that's exactly what's happening. No accident there, but we are watching this one just north of it. It looks like it's on Independence, but it's not. It's off to the side. It's on Cross Point Circle near Independence. It's actually in that apartment complex right there. And then this right here just now popping up. A lane is blocked because of a crash on Audrey Kell Road. We'll continue to keep you up to date with everything that I'm looking at, but those are the highlights for now.
All right, 8:20 now. The NBA draft is complete. Later today, the Charlotte Hornets are going to introduce its newest players. The team grabbed another Duke Blue Devil in last night's second round, taking Sion James at number 33. He is a power forward. He rejoins teammate Con Knippel, and with the 34th pick, the Hornets selected 7-footer Ryan Kalkbrenner out of Creighton. Now, those are the four new Hornets: Knippel, McNeely, James, and Kalkbrenner. On last night's live Impact stream right here on WCNC Plus, our own sports director Nick Carbone talked about what these players bring to the table.
This draft in the second round had these experienced kind of potential NBA role players at the top of the second round. I think was very enticing and hard to pass up, using both of those picks. And Jeff Peterson, the president of basketball ops, last night when asked, said, yeah, we've got the roster space for 2 more players. So I think with Sion James, our co-host Jeremy Grandison sat here last night and was like pounding the table for Sion James. He's somebody that brings a lot of toughness, a lot of defensive intensity. He's 22 years old. And I think what we've seen with these 4 picks, guys, is that Jeff Peterson and the Hornets have a type. They have picked 4 guys from big-time winning college basketball programs that have had a lot of success, so guys who really want to win and know how to work to win, and guys that are very competitive and well-rounded in their game. I think you can check all the boxes for all 4 of the draft picks, but Sion James is somebody that could carve out a role for himself for a very long time in the NBA. Maybe he's not an all-star at any point, but could be a part of playoff teams, and certainly the Hornets hope that it's here. It is absolutely a culture shift, one that I think new Hornets ownership and new front office management wants to put in place. And that doesn't mean that the guys on the current roster are all bad culture guys and don't have that mentality, but they need to add more of those types of players to help promote it along. Like, I think Brandon Miller is that type of player, and we thought so when they drafted him. I think Grant Williams, who they brought in, and unfortunately I think we saw the fruits of his absence last year when he wasn't with the team. So yes, it's absolutely a type like these blue-collar, lunch-pail dudes who just want to win, and they are willing to take on any role on their team at any given time. Start with Con Knippel. He's kind of Robin to Cooper Flagg's Batman until Batman goes down in the ACC tournament. Con shoulders the load the rest of the way. He can do a lot of different things. Liam McNeely had to play a lot of point guard for UConn last year. That affected his shooting stats and probably affected his draft position to where he was available at 29. Sion James is somebody that literally, he's not going to show up in the box score with eye-popping stats every night for Duke, but you look through the box sheet, and if you know what to look for, you know he's doing a lot of different jobs at the same time. And Ryan Kalkbrenner, wants to get it done on offense and has a bit of a defensive game to him as well.
I appreciate the Batman and Robin analogy.
I like that.
Check this out. A bunch of those diehard fans showing up at Charlotte Douglas just yesterday to welcome some of the newest members of that draft class. Con Knippel and Liam McNeely arrived to Charlotte after being selected there in the first round to thank the crowd for welcoming them to the city and say they are excited to get to work.
Yes. Love to see that.
I'm pumped. I think they did a really good job.
Yeah.
I think the Panthers and the Hornets had probably some of the best drafts I've seen since I've been here.
Oh, good.
we're overdue for a good few years here in Charlotte. For
overdue.
Sports. Yeah. Yes. All right, folks. 8:24 right now. We can bring in some Majestic as well. She's here with us at the desk. We're going to play a game we like to play occasionally on WCNC Plus, and that's Name That City.
Ooh.
Okay. I think. Can I go ahead and go?
Yes.
Sure.
Boston.
Cincinnati. Oh wait,
I have no idea. It's
Boston. Good job.
I mean, that's my city. I didn't recognize this angle.
You should have known
that. I recognize the.
And unfortunately, the next one is even easier.
Okay, that's
Let me
really
see the next
easy.
one.
San Fran.
Francisco. Isn't that gorgeous?
I'm gonna go with Albuquerque.
Yeah, that's Oh my goodness.
Dang it, 0 for 2.
Traffic on that bridge can be something else.
At least you have a view, though.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's stunning.
We actually don't know where this is.
Oh, that's
We don't have that.
Charlotte.
Let's see. Uptown,
Can I answer this one?
Charlotte.
Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Now,
Chris gets one finally. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. Keep it right here. More headlines coming up right here on WCNC Plus.
well, good morning, everybody. Check it out, 94 degrees today. So similar to what we had yesterday. 100 is where we were a couple of days ago. I'm happy to say that we're not going to be anywhere near there. So good news. We are trending in a good direction. Still a chance for thunderstorms to pop up. Isolated variety today, but check out that real feel. We'll be close to about 99 degrees as we work our way through the afternoon hours. Some hours might feel closer to about that 100 mark, but all in all, it's much better than feeling like 105. We have no heat advisory for today. Check it out. Heading through the weekend, high temperatures in the lower 90s. Chances for storms each and every day, especially during the afternoons. Down to 91 on Tuesday, which, by the way, is my best chance for rain going forward. 88 behind a cold front on Wednesday, but it's nice to see the lower 90s instead of the upper 90s to 100 degrees. Majestic, right?
Absolutely, we will take it. All right, here we go. We are looking at 827 right now. What a gorgeous start to our Friday morning. I-85 here at Statesville Ave. It's flowing nice and smoothly. Honestly, I'm not seeing any major watch spots out there. You'll need your sunglasses, grab your water bottle, get ready for the weekend. You can see York County this morning. It's moving. It did have some issues this morning, but right now it seems like it's flowing just fine. We do have one accident out towards the airport, bringing us some medium impacts. It's on Wilkinson Boulevard and Airport Beacon Lane. You can see that yellow. Otherwise, as we are taking a look over towards the east, seeing a little bit of a backup there on 485, the inner loop there by Matthews, but no accidents, just people heading towards the uptown area. Take it easy this morning and have a great Friday.
You are streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. A major transportation bill, decades, literally decades in the making, now headed to the governor's desk for his signature.
It could have a big impact on growing communities around Charlotte. The PAVE Act is being called a game changer for transit and for your morning commute. We're talking more rail lines, more buses, more roads.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live with what this bill means for Mecklenburg County. And now, Destiny, it's going to be up to all of us voters in the Charlotte area.
Yeah, the next step, if Governor Stein signs this bill, is that a 1-cent sales tax would be on the ballot in November. And then if that sales tax passes, then this would fund multiple major transit and transportation projects in Mecklenburg County for decades to come. Now, 40% of that sales tax revenue would go straight to towns and cities across the county to spend on road projects. The other 60% would go to creating a new independent transit authority. It means millions invested in light rail expansion and bus service, including the creation of the new Red Line Rail. There were some concerns in the General Assembly about the new transit authority, if it could be held accountable in using these funds and how it would impact state projects. In committee on Wednesday, many senators said they're supportive of the idea, but will be watching the impacts.
Allow them to be a little bit more of an independent agent and less reliant on state funds for transportation that could be better spent in other places. So I think that might be something to just think about looking forward.
So definitely important to note that even if Stein approves this bill, it's ultimately in the hands of Mecklenburg County voters to decide. And we also know that senators in other areas like Forsyth and Buncombe counties, they have expressed interest in creating similar bills to this. So if it happens to be successful, then it could have a larger impact across the state. Ben, Lisa.
And of course, many people will have their opinions about this, including those who said they didn't get what they wanted in the final version of this bill. I know that some communities wanted more.
Yeah, that's right. We've talked a lot about Matthews. They have been excluded out of the Silver light rail extension and out of light rail plans in general. We reported on that in the past couple of months, as well as the mayor speaking out, just being upset about that. But we do know in the General Assembly, there were some leaders who spoke out about saying they get it. They understand how Matthews, how the southeast part of Mecklenburg County will feel about this, but they still believe that this is a meaningful bill, that it will be important for the county, and they want to get it in the hands of Mecklenburg County voters as soon as possible.
Yeah, as frustrating it is for people in Matthews, it just didn't seem like there was going to be a path forward there because local lawmakers in Raleigh all said the red line had to come first because they were promised it 20 years ago. And then state lawmakers put a cap on how much we could spend on rail. So there was literally no other way to move forward with this plan and still get some of those other things like what Matthews had wanted. And I understand the frustration for folks there. All right, Destiny Richards reporting live for us in Charlotte. Destiny, thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. Check this out. This is Buckeye Lake over here at Beach Mountain. A gorgeous view. We have blue skies over there and also blue skies over here around Boone and King Street. It has been a quiet morning overall up in the mountains from the cameras that we watched on and off throughout this morning, but it's going to be a delightful morning. Things will change heading into the afternoon, though. So a day in the mountains, doesn't matter if it's Avery, Watauga, or Ashe County. Forecast very similar, highs reaching the mid-70s, but check it out. We have a solid, likely chance, even widespread thunderstorm chance to start off the afternoon. So from right now, it's sunny. You'll see the clouds populate really quickly, and then you could have some widespread thunderstorm activity. And realistically, it's the high country. You have the best chances for rain and storms out of anyone in our area over the next 5 days. You have 3 widespread rain chances. That means it's likely you're going to have storms on and off throughout the day today, and then again on Monday and Tuesday. And Tuesday's even moving towards a widespread chance for the Charlotte area. I'll explain. I'm getting ahead of myself. Here's that storm potential. Check it out. This is 1 o'clock, pretty much covering the entire counties here. And then you're going to have some periods of some heavy rain, some pretty frequent lightning. And then we move over to the isolated spotty thunderstorm chance that we know oh so well here in the Charlotte area. The strongest storms are going to be right here, I think, though, in the foothills and the mountains. but any one of these could provide some gusty winds, and it's also a microburst environment. So that just means you could have that quick energy drop to the surface and you could have some isolated wind damage. That's a summertime pattern, y'all. It's really tough to say, hey, it's absolutely going to have a thunderstorm today or tomorrow. It's the general thunderstorm pattern that we have each and every summer day, pretty much. 94 degrees is our peak today. Today's also the hottest day that we have, at least over the next 7. And then we start to see those real feels getting close to about 100 degrees by the back end. I think you can feel as much as 100, maybe 101 by about 4 p.m. But for the most part, we're in the mid to the upper 90s for most of the afternoon. We just have a slight peak to around that 100-degree mark by about the middle of the afternoon. But hey, that's still nowhere near heat advisory criteria or anywhere near where we were during the peak heat earlier this week. As far as our best rain chances go, I think you have an isolated shot of a pop-up storm today. It's more scattered tomorrow afternoon, and then it becomes isolated again on Sunday and Monday. So to paraphrase this, Saturday, Tuesday, I think are your best chances for rain. Check out your Saturday forecast for Sunday. It's not a big difference here, right? You see green here on the map each section, each day at 92 degrees. But I'm going to show you Saturday how it shapes up. You start off sunny, you pick up those clouds, and you'll notice something. Once you get that cloud cover that's really taking over the skies, turning a little bit darker, the ones that are super lumpy and tall, those are the ones that are likely going to turn into a cumulonimbus, aka thunderstorms. And this energy will pass off to one another. So you again have these twisting and bending storms all over the area, starting as early as 2. So before 2, you're good. After 2, there's a chance. Mid to late afternoon, we're seeing more of these. And then heading through the evening, that thunderstorm chance starts to drop off. Heading into your Sunday, here it is. You're seeing an isolated shower or thunderstorm starting to pop up. Same thing. I think you just have a little less coverage. But then again, Tuesday looks to be the big spike. Coming up, I'll show you that 7-day forecast. But first, we're going to see and check in with Majestic what's going on in traffic.
Good morning, everyone. If you're heading out the door, good news. It's beautiful and we don't have anything that's going to majorly slow you down. Here's I-85 here at Sugar Creek. It is 8:37. If you have places to be, things to do, I'm not seeing any major concerns right now. I-77 southbound, this is Sutton Road. It has been quite congested this morning because we have had a lot of construction. But as of now, I mean, you can see things are not really that bad. It's moving just fine for your commute. I want to show you my live traffic maps because we are watching a couple of things out towards the airport. This one here, you see that yellow popping up? That means you'll have some medium impacts there. It's on Wilkinson Boulevard and Airport Beacon Lane. So just be careful if you are driving over there. And then off to the east, right in the uptown area, Brevard and 4th Street, there's currently an ongoing crash. And then as we head to the south, I want to show you this. A lane is blocked right now on Audrey Kell Road. So if you typically drive that way, you can still move through it. Just one of the lanes are currently blocked. We'll have another check on those area roadways right now. But for now, Ben, this is what I'm watching.
Hey, Majestic, thanks. We are learning more about a deadly shooting overnight in Northeast Charlotte. It happened in an apartment complex on Merrick Street, right off North Tryon. Well, just moments ago, we learned the victim is a 15-year-old boy. According to police, somebody outside fired into that apartment and hit that victim. Several other people inside at the time, too, including 4 kids ranging in age from 14 down to 3 years old. None of the other kids were hurt. But again, just now learning in the last few minutes, a 15-year-old was hit in this overnight shooting. The shots coming from outside of that apartment. At this point, we are still working to learn more about a potential suspect in this investigation.
8:39 now. A WCNC Charlotte investigation found an area school district has refused to take on a potentially life-saving responsibility. Despite terrified parents begging for change, WCNC Charlotte's Nate Morabito discovered Union County Public Schools are denying kids with a rare disorder around-the-clock access to a shot that could save their lives.
Dominic D'Amato never wants to revisit the day his son Harrison,
he was 8 months old, literally gray and lifeless,
nearly died while battling the flu. But when you're raising a child with congenital adrenal hyperplasia, all it takes is an infection or a broken bone to send parents right back to that moment.
Sorry.
CAH is a rare genetic disorder that affects the adrenal glands. It requires maintenance medicine multiple times a day. And if something triggers a life-threatening adrenal crisis, demands either a stress dose taken by mouth
He couldn't stomach the medication. He kept vomiting it.
or an emergency steroid shot in the thigh muscle.
So this is an emergency kit.
That shot,
The medication itself is this white powder.
which his parents always carry with them,
And then you flip it over and draw the medication with the syringe.
saved Harrison's life then.
Snapped right out of it.
And would do the same if the 6-year-old ever goes into crisis again.
Yeah.
But depending on the day, there's no guarantee he'd get it immediately at school when needed.
It's exactly what we're worried about.
As it stands, Union County Public Schools only allows school nurses to give out this kind of shot.
She's only there 2 days a week.
A problem most school days at Harrison's elementary school.
It's just scary.
And a concern 1 day a week at a different Union County elementary school that Danielle Piazza's 7-year-old son attends.
He could die.
Oliver's mom says in the boy's short life so far, he's already gone into crisis twice outside of school and needed injections both times.
Both incidents were just so scary.
Piazza says school staff are open to getting trained.
They are absolutely willing to do it, and the district is not allowing them.
But Union County Public Schools has told both families no one other than nurses can give the injection. Citing state law, the district's attorney told the parents the shot cannot be delegated to unlicensed staff in the school environment. The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services says not only is that not true, no one can tell a registered nurse whether they should or should not delegate their duties. Instead, that decision falls squarely on the school nurse's shoulders and is based on the individual student and application of the North Carolina Board of Nursing decision tree.
Honestly, I think it's fear from the actual syringe.
Hoping it would help their cause, Harrison's family secured a doctor's note urging the district to change its stance, saying this is similar to using an EpiPen for a peanut allergy or glucagon for a child with diabetes, and noting this drug cannot be overdosed, making the risk almost negligible.
It rips my heart apart, knowing that my son could be in severe danger.
Both families have even said they'd sign liability waivers. He has the same thing.
100%.
The D'Amato family is actually twice as likely to see history repeat itself. Harrison's little brother has the same rare disorder.
The 3-year-old is going to face the same issue when he gets to school.
Yes, he will.
Which is why their parents are desperate for Union County to make a change now.
Yeah, it would be a great relief.
Despite the state's stance and our questions, a school district spokesperson told us school health leadership decided against allowing other employees to give this shot due to what Union County Public Schools calls a detailed and intricate injection process, adding if there's a health crisis emergency, school administrators and nurses are trained to respond safely and appropriately. These families don't believe the existing response, which is call 911 and wait for EMS to arrive, is enough to save a child's life. Nate Morabito, WCNC Charlotte.
Imagine breezing through airport security without having to dump your drink or unpack your laptop. Well, that could happen soon. Take a look at this. A North Carolina startup is working on an advanced X-ray scanner that could make airport security faster, safer, and even let you carry your liquids. The Duke University spin-out aims to replace old baggage scanners and better detect threats. They plan to start testing at airports as soon as next year. Well, speaking of travel, Charlotte Douglas has a few reminders this morning for those of you flying out for the 4th of July holiday. Officials are expecting more than 900,000 travelers, with the busiest days being July 3rd, 6th, and 7th. Now, to make sure that you have an easy time at the airport, you are urged to arrive early and to book your parking online.
Can I just say something really quick? I don't understand why 25 years after 9/11, when the whole TSA thing changed and we started traveling different at airports, why 25 years later we still have to separate our liquids or pour, like, is technology not better at this?
You would think.
And evidently there's people here
in that
North
amount of
Carolina
time
trying to make it, but it's sort of surprising to me that in that time we've not, I mean,
gotten
we have
better with that.
ChatGPT that can solve all of life's
I'm
problems.
sure that AI at some point will be used to make that much easier.
I think. Starting today, Gastonia is going to open a cooling station every day that temperatures reach 90 degrees or more. It's located over on South Broad Street in downtown Gastonia, and it's going to be open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Well, when you get in your car at the end of the day, the first thing you probably do is blast your AC, but you might want wait a minute before you touch that control.
Hear us out. Tanya Rivera shares the steps that you should try to cool your car down as quickly as possible.
Driving, turn on the air conditioner and open all the windows for about 10 to 20 seconds. Next, crank the fan, and once that cold air starts flowing through the vents, you'll want to roll up your front windows, but keep the rear windows cracked open for another 10 to 20 seconds to pull that cold air to the back of the car. Got backseat riders? Turn off the recirculation mode so the air in the back doesn't get stale and hot.
Now let's talk about the buttons. You got an AC button and you have a recirculate button. What's the difference? AC pulls hot air from the outside and cools it through the air compressor, and then it spits it out to you. The recirculation button takes the already cool air and does the same thing, but it doesn't work as hard and it cools faster. So what happens if you don't have this magic circulation button? Well, it means that your car does it automatically.
Tanya Rivera with that report. As temperatures skyrocket this summer, you'll want to do everything you can to stay cool. But what about your pets? Animal experts are urging pet owners to get them in for a summer checkup. Also, make sure that you keep them hydrated. Pets can easily become dehydrated in the heat, and we know they love time outside, but make sure that you limit their sun exposure. Also, groom wisely. You can trim long-haired dogs, but don't shave them because their coats actually protect them against sunburn and overheating. And finally, make sure that they avoid hot pavement. If it's too hot for you, it is too hot for their paws. All right, let's check in with Chris now for more about our forecast. This is going to be just regular hot today.
Yeah, you might have a peak of 101, 100, but that's for like an hour, maybe two. Just like yesterday. If yesterday was bearable, I think you're going to be just fine. Today is actually one of the more hotter days that we have going forward, and then that mugginess will be on the rise. But this is what you can expect. Most summer days are going to be hot and humid here in the Carolinas, and you will pop up to the upper 90s to around 100 degrees often. It's when you get close to that 105 mark, that's where we're going to be talking a little bit more of the record-breaking status or rarity in general. So, you know, I love my stats, and this one actually really just drove it home. How warm and muggy have the mornings been so far in June? We only have 4 days to go, and so far this is the 5th warmest set of lows that we've had in June history for Charlotte, and as of right now, through 26 days, the 11th warmest June, so very close to that top 10 mark. Here are the 90s, so that means that that cooling shelter and center over in Gastonia is going to be open every day, really over the next several days. We have, well, pretty much most of summer. 94 degrees is what we have for today, 92 and then to 91. The average is 89, by the way, on Monday. That goes up to 90 and it stays there for the better part of a month and a half. You even jumped up to 91 in the middle of July. Our best rain chances tomorrow, Tuesday, and Tuesday night. Now, there's a bunch of isolated chances in between there, but moving on to Saturday, I want to take some time to show you our weekend rain chance. I already showed you what Friday was going to do. Friday's very spotty. The mountains, you're going to see most of the rain. So check it out. Here's noon. Don't really have too much going on. Then things start to change heading into the early afternoon. This is pretty typical. So the way that this is going to look, likely you have a sunny sky, and then those spotty cumulus clouds, little cotton balls, start to stretch upward. When they start to stretch outward and especially go this way, that means something's happening. That means it's starting to head to cumulonimbus status, aka thunderstorms are about to bloom. So at that point, maybe you want to be a little bit more weather aware that these are going to pop up. Each and every one of these, because we actually have a better instability or more storm fuel for your Saturday. So each and every summer afternoon and evening, sadly, when it's hot and humid in this range, you will have a chance for a storm to turn strong to severe. But over the next couple of days, a better chance that one of them could potentially produce what's called a wet microburst. That's a better chance for some damaging winds or some gusty winds form from them. But we see a lot more storms here on the map during your Saturday afternoon, and that starts to fade out heading in the evening. We rinse and repeat for your Sunday. Right around noon to 2, we see the development of those clouds growing in the vertical, and then we have isolated showers, a little bit more coverage on Saturday compared to Sunday, so it's kind of the luck of the draw what you're going to have here. But the reason why we have the likely for Tuesday and Tuesday night is a cold front. So whenever you're hot and humid and you have a trough, a low, or a front, that drives everything into the atmosphere and ups your storm potential. So over the next 10 days, there it is, the lower 90s for the most part. We have the mid 90s today, and then 4th of July, we have the mid 90s. But all in all, this is what you should be at for the end of June heading into July. So welcome back to normality. It is nice to be here, Majestic. A nice change.
It is. It's going to be a beautiful start to the day as well. That's what I'm noticing on all of these cameras, all that sunshine outside this morning. And it is nice and more comfortable, I would say, compared to the last few days. York County, good morning to you. Eyes on you. I-77 has been a trouble spot for me this morning and for a lot of drivers, really. But right now, it seems like things are flowing all right. It was really the southbound lanes that were being highly impacted by some ongoing construction. But again, there's a live look of I-77. We don't have any significant slowdowns as we're looking at our interstate, so good news for you there. But let's switch it over to our live traffic maps. I do want to get to a couple of minor ongoing accidents here. As we zoom it in, here we go. This one just northeast of Charlotte. It's a crash that's actually impacting I-85 westbound. It's going to be blocking one lane. It's on westbound I-85 and then over towards Highway 24. We'll get to that one a little bit more with more details because that's going to be the biggest one there. And then Wilkinson out towards the airport. There's a minor crash on Airport Beacon Lane. As we head towards the uptown area, this one is slowing you down. It's a crash on Brevard Street and 4th Street. Those are the biggest things now. We'll have another check on the roads coming up here shortly.
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle. What to do this weekend? One great place to visit is the Sullenberger Aviation Museum right here in Charlotte. Kind of the history of aviation from the classic biplanes to this one. The amazing Miracle on the Hudson is right there at the Sullenberger Aviation Museum near Charlotte Douglas International Airport. Open today, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Saturday this weekend, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Sunday, noon to 4:30 p.m. Log on to sullenbergeraviation.org, sullenbergeraviation.org for all the information. The Sullenberger Aviation Museum, a great place to visit this weekend. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
Now to another great place. Today, an iconic North Carolina landmark will reopen. Exactly 9 months ago, Hurricane Helene forced the closure of Chimney Rock. Later today, the state park will welcome folks once again. For now, you can visit Fridays to Mondays, and reservations are required. Well, this morning, Microsoft saying goodbye to what has been called the blue screen of death.
You've probably seen it. Take a look. You may know it well. That screen has had some minor changes since the 90s, but it's basically remained the same. Now the company says it's switching to a new black version this summer on Windows 11 devices. It's supposed to be an easier and a faster way to recover from restarts.
Boring.
You might remember that site on your screen last July. That's when a faulty update from CrowdStrike crashed computer systems around the world. This is what it looked like in our control room. We actually went on the air that morning without our computer systems. It was, you know what? It was not the prettiest newscast.
No.
But it was on.
But we had our scripts. Those were my scripts, actually. That's my water bottle and my scripts. It wasn't the prettiest, but we got you the news, weather, and traffic you needed that morning.
I think it was just you and I, Ben.
I think it might have been.
Yeah, and then we had to ditch traffic just because we couldn't physically do it. So I had a PowerPoint of graphics because we kind of prepared this. So yeah, I was PowerPointing. Ben was just old school reading.
That's right.
I was glad I was living the evening news life. It was resolved.
It was resolved. Lucky you. Imagine that wake-up call at 2 a.m. from your boss. Todd called me. It was, ooh. Was not ready for that. So since that brought so much stress, we had our own ideas of what we thought would be even better error screens. We'll go with mine first. And mine is sort of like, to ease yourself into it and make you feel better. Just puppies.
I mean, they are just delightful to look at, right?
I feel better already.
All puppies. Oh, okay. So here's what I think. Our screen should say, we wish that life was all sunshine and rainbows too, but here we are.
Nice.
Right?
It's fair. It's fair.
And I want to stay optimistic as my co-anchors here. Well, this isn't great, but you're great. You can either A, take a break and celebrate you, or B, follow these diagnostic tips to remedy this unfortunate event.
I must say, if I read that in the middle of this, I might throw something. Well, if this isn't great, but you are great.
You're great. Take a break and celebrate. I've got something to celebrate, all right.
Yeah, that's why puppies are better.
Puppies definitely.
Or maybe
will.
puppies in this response.
But supposedly we'll get a black screen now that will be a little bit faster. So
Yeah.
that's going to be the actual alternative. They didn't like our ideas.
All right, whatever.
All right, folks.
Their loss.
We'll take a live picture right now inside our live Impact Stream studio. As you can see there on the bottom left, Jane Monreal getting ready to take over. She's going to talk about a new type of health insurance program. That and all the live events coming your way right here on WCNC Plus. Keep it here.
Welcome everyone to another summer day, but it's not as oppressive as it has been the last few days. 94 is our high for today, and you still could have a heat index reach around 100 degrees during the afternoon, but hey, it could be a lot worse, and it was a lot worse just a couple of days ago. 92 after this. Each and every day is also going to have a storm chance, so here it is. I think you have an isolated storm bubbling up mid to late afternoon heading into the evening. More scattered variety of storms on Saturday, back to isolated status on Sunday, and then by Tuesday, a little bit better chance for severe thunderstorms and even widespread storms heading into Wednesday. Let's get over to Majestic Storm with our morning commute, see what's going on.
Hey everyone, good Friday morning to you. It is a gorgeous start to the day, isn't it? Lots of sunshine out there. I-85 here, looking just fine. If you're heading out, you got places to be, you got things to do. Thankfully, nothing too significant is ongoing right now. I-77 at Sutton Road does look fine there as well. As we switch it over to my live traffic maps, one thing you're going to want to know if you're taking I-77 northbound, well, we have a lot of red that's popping up. There's a crash there on I-77 at exit 5. That's Tyvola Road.